Hi everyone, welcome to Cooking in Manhattan. Today we are going to be cooking gnocchi. Many of my viewers have been requesting this recipe and today I want to make all of them very happy. Let's take a look at the ingredients. We have all-purpose flour, we have salt, 1 egg that we will beat before we incorporate, and then we have the potatoes. What I do for the potatoes for gnocchi really is I microwave them in some wet paper. The reason for this is because I don't want the potatoes to lose too much of the moisture. Otherwise they will get too dry. This way I actually wrap them, so I wet the paper towel first, then I wrap the potatoes as if they are like some tamales, and then I put them in the microwave oven and I cook it for about 8 minutes on one side, then I turn them around and I cook them again for 4 minutes. But regardless of the power of your microwave, what you want to have is a potato that when you squish on both sides, it's actually soft. This also allows you to peel it very easily. This is still a little bit hot and so are the other ones that I peeled already, but as you can see, it's actually a very easy process. So it comes away as if it's a layer of paper. We will be seasoning the gnocchi with some butter and sage, a very simple sauce to really enhance the flavor of the gnocchi. And now let's get cooking. So I wipe my counter with some wipes. I use the botanical wipes because they disinfect everything, but they also I also wipe it down with water so it doesn't leave any aftertaste. You don't want your gnocchi to really taste like botanical wipes. And now I'm going to use a grater, a box grater like this, to grate the potatoes. Many people lead you to believe that gnocchi are very time consuming and they're very difficult to make and you need all sorts of equipment. You really don't. You need a box grater, and then I'll show you, you'll need a fork to give them shape. But even if you don't have the fork, then you're good to go. Just one word of advice is never to put your gnocchi or your potatoes in the never to put them in a blender, because otherwise they turn like glue and you don't want that to happen. So here it is. Okay. That's the first part, that's the first one. I'm going to finish grating the potatoes and then I'll show you the next step. The next step is actually putting all the ingredients together. So as I mentioned, we're going to be using all-purpose flour. I grated all my potatoes and I added 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Now I'm adding an egg, whole egg. You don't need to separate it at all. I'm going to start mixing it like this, so it creates a little bit of a smoother texture. And then let's not forget this, we need a little bit, let's say 1 teaspoon, about 1 teaspoon of salt. So now I'm going to start incorporating the ingredients together. So let's use our hands because it's always the best thing, especially because the potatoes, as you will notice, are still a little bit moist. They haven't lost all the moisture, so you don't need too many eggs. You just need 1. Otherwise, if you add too many eggs, then you have to add too much flour, and the gnocchi will come out a little bit too tough. At the beginning of the process, you will probably think that this is a big fat mess and it's never going to stick together, but stay with me and trust me because it will stick together. So I'm going to incorporate the potatoes, flour, and eggs, and then I'll show you how it looks. After a couple of minutes of kneading the gnocchi dough, here it is. It comes together perfectly, all the ingredients are perfectly incorporated, and we're going to let it rest. So I'll put a little bit of flour here on my surface and I'll let it rest for about ½ hour. In this way, actually the gnocchi will come together even better because all the ingredients have time to meet and mingle with each other. ½ hour has passed and our gnocchi dough is perfect. It looks really beautiful. It's a lot drier now than what it was before, so it's ready to be cut, and then we will start preparing the gnocchi. Now, many people think that they need a gnocchi roller, such as this one that has the ridges, to actually make the gnocchi. I'll show you that that's not the case. The only thing you need actually is a fork. So in the meantime, this is my first portion. This is 1/8 of the bowl. I lightly flour the surface, and what I want to do is really create I roll it out as if it's like a very thick wiener, or you know, a frankfurter or a hot dog. So I roll it out like this, and maybe a little bit more. So what you want to do is you want to roll it, and at the same time also make your hands go in the opposite direction. So now I will cut the gnocchi like so. It's about 1/2 inch, I would say. Let me just show it to you. So that's the shape of the gnocchi. It's about 1/2 inch, but what I want to show you most importantly is when you use this particular object, so this gnocchi ridge maker, we can call it, you would do something like this. So you would push the gnocchi and make it roll around your fingers. What you do is exactly the same also with a fork. You just do it in the opposite direction. So you put the fork in this position like this, and then with your fingers, usually it's your first 2 fingers like this, you actually roll the gnocchi dough. Now, the ridges, of course, as you can see, between this and this are a little bit thicker here and a little bit thinner here. But really, it doesn't matter. As long as gnocchis have ridges, then they will hold their shape, and they will also hold the sauce perfectly together. So I'll finish making gnocchi, and then we show you how to cook them, and finally how to put them in our butter and sage sauce. See how beautiful they are? They look absolutely wonderful. No gnocco is ever similar to the next, so you will notice that there are always some differences, but really every person is unique and every gnocchi is unique. So before we keep going, as you can see, I'm almost halfway done. I use my bench scraper to cut the dough, and then I roll it out. I roll it out either with the fork or with my ridge maker, gnocchi ridge maker. Before we move further, I think it's important that I teach you how to say gnocchi. So it's written G-N-O-C-C-H-I, and it's not gnocchi. It's not gnocchi, it is gnocchi. It's like N-I-O-K-I, gnocchi. It's very simple. Repeat it with me, gnocchi. Here it is. I'm gonna finish up, and then I'll show you how to cook them. And now the water is boiling. We have about 2 tablespoons of butter with a lot of sage in the pan. I'm going to add just a bit. As you can see, it's boiling really, really high. I'm going to put a handful of salt. As you remember, whenever you boil, whenever you boil pasta, it has to be as salty as the sea. I'm going to cover it up, bring it to a boil again because it kind of died down a little bit, and then we'll dip the gnocchi first into the boiling water. Then when they're cooked, when they get to the surface, we'll put them in our brown butter. When you move your gnocchi from your bench to the platter, you want to make sure that you actually pick them up one by one, otherwise all the ridges will get smushed. And now in they go. Whoa! Whoa, the boiling water splattering all over in the kitchen. Yay! Okay, let's see if we can do it like this. See, much better. Okay, so now we're going to cook them for it's about 5 minutes, not more than that. You want to wait just until they actually get back to the surface. You don't want to move them too much when they're in the water, because of course otherwise they're going to become mushy. And then we can treat the other ones by put them on parchment paper in a baking sheet and maybe freeze them for some other day. The gnocchi have surfaced, so we can now take them, scoop them, make sure that you remove part of the water at least. over here, yay. And I'll turn on, after I have scooped all the gnocchi into the pan, I'll turn on the heat under the butter again so that I can cook them. You want to make sure that you don't put hot and watery gnocchi into a pan where there is fat, such as butter, because it's going to splatter all over. So let's see, did I get them all? I think so. Okay, let's turn this off and turn this back on. And now we saute. Here they are. This is our dish of gnocchi with sage and butter and a little bit of Parmigiano because that makes everything delicious. I'm going to take a bite. So simple yet so delicious. The gnocchi are perfectly fluffy. They're like little clouds, little pillows made of clouds. And they are so simple to make. You really shouldn't buy your gnocchi, you really should make them at home. Also note that the other ones that I didn't cook, I put them in the fridge, I put them in the freezer actually, and I'm going to freeze them, and then whenever I'm ready to cook them again, I'll put them frozen into the boiling water and then have a little bit more gnocchi for me and for the camera guy over here. I will see you again on the next Cooking in Manhattan. And don't forget to like, thumb up this video and to leave a comment if you have any question. You can reach me via YouTube, you can reach me via Twitter or Facebook, and I will see you again on the next Cooking in Manhattan, but now turn off the computer and get cooking. The trick number 1